In the last one we conquered Act 1, finishing with Vaal. Head out the back of Vaal's room and we end up in Act 2. In this, the first part of Act 2, we're going to run up the right hand side against this wall, only stopping to kill blue packs. Eventually we'll reach the forest encampment, which is the town for Act 2. Head in here, talk to Groost and sell any items you may have. We're now going to head out the right hand side of town to the old fields. This area is really easy to navigate, we just follow the road all the way from the entrance to the exit. Note that there is a side area in here called the Den, I just passed it on the right hand side. If you don't have 2 Quicksilver flasks yet, you will want to drop a portal here to come back. I have been lucky enough to get 3 by this point. I'm about to reach the exit. If you didn't find the Den here and you need it, drop a portal at the exit and then go straight through into the crossroads. In the crossroads, we're going to follow the path from left to right until we reach this waypoint. If you did need the Den, then take the waypoint back to town, follow your portal back to the old fields and then enter the Den. At the end of the Den there'll be a big white bear, kill it and then talk to Yena to get a Quicksilver flask. As I mentioned, I don't need the Den, so I'm going straight upwards here and I keep heading upwards until I find the entrance to the Chamber of Sin, and then I go in. Just like in Act 1, we only want to kill packs of blues or large packs that are likely to kill us. Our mission in this area is to get to the centre of the area and find the waypoint. Once you grab the waypoint, head to the door closest to it and keep going in a straight line until you find the staircase down to the Chamber of Sins level 2. The exit in this area is either going to be to your right or to your left, and I know that's really unuseful. I would tend to go to the right first just because it's probably about 60-40 right to left. I would also note that there's a Trial of Ascendancy in here. You'll know that you're close to the exit when you reach a really narrow offshoot that goes in like a big S shape. Eventually we'll find a crafting bench, and this is guarded by a mini-boss called Fidelitas. This boss does physical and lightning damage, and he can hurt quite a bit. But most characters should be able to tank him fairly easily by using life flasks and just their normal defences. This boss is mechanically very simple. He has like 3 main attacks. He calls down lightning from the air, which will hit you if you're in front of him. He also fires out 3 lightning projectiles in front of him, and then he continually tries to hit you with his scorpion tail. He does have quite a bit of hit points, so it will take a little while to get him down unless you're using leveling gear. Once he is down, however, click on the crafting bench and the baleful gem will drop from it. Pick this up and log back out to town. Groost will now have a selection of gems as quest rewards. Grab one of these before moving onwards. My character is going to stack fire resistance in order to get an awful lot of regen. In order to help boost my fire resistance in these early levels, I'm going to do a vendor recipe. Basically, I take my iron ring and I trade it with a red skill gem. This will convert to a ruby ring, which will now give me additional fire resistance. A blue gem will give you cold resistance and a green gem lightning. You do want your resistances to be as high as possible as quickly as possible. The whole game is designed around having 75% resistances. This is a great way of filling specific resistance holes so you can get to cap as quickly as possible. Note that as well as using them to buy skill gems, transmutes can also be used to upgrade your gear. Here I'm using it to convert my shield from normal to magic. This will give the shield either 1 or 2 additional modifiers. In this case I got 2, both armour and cold resistance, both good in the early game. Once you've got your character sorted, head out to the left to the Riverways. You are going to want a movement skill in here that can jump over the rivers. If you don't have one, you're going to have to find the little bridges, and that is so inefficient. Now what I really like about Act 2 is the fact that it gives you practically a road to tell you exactly where to go in every scenario. Going off the path to find the little log bridges to get across the river is just so annoying. When you get to about halfway through the area, you'll find a waypoint. Just running past it will pick it up, and then we continue along the road until we find the exit. This will take us into the western forest, and do beware of this area. There are little guys that are purple. If they touch you, they will start to explode. If there's enough of them to block you in while they explode, you will die. So you probably want to keep running down this road so that not to attract too many of them at once. On one side of the road there will be a waypoint as you run down it. Collect this by running past it, and note the side of the road it's on. This will be very important in a minute. In my case, it's on the right hand side. Once you reach the end of the road, there'll be a rickety fort made out of carts and bits of material. Here you'll find Captain Artiri along with the Blackguards. Once you put Artiri down, he will drop the thematic emblem. Run to the back of the fort and find the thematic seal. Touch it to place the emblem in it. We will get a skill point for doing this that we can pick up from Bestel in Act 1. As soon as you've done this, you want to run up the opposite side of the arena to the side the waypoint is on. In my case, the waypoint was on the right, so we're going to run up to the left. You want to run up slightly more than 45 degrees until you reach one of the walls on that side of the arena. Once you get a wall, hug it all the way around until you find an entrance to the Weaver's Chamber. For all those arachnophobes out there, I'm really sorry, but we're about to enter an area full of spiders. In fact, the Weaver herself is just a giant spider. While I can't stand being in the same room as a spider in real life, computer-generated ones don't bother me quite so much. Once in the Weaver's Chamber, we are going to head left. It's about 50-50 whether the actual Weaver's nest will be here or not. When it is to the left, it will be the quickest way, which is why we head that way. If it's not here, it will be sort of down center to the right. On my way to the Weaver's Nest, I got distracted by an essence mob. So I always try and fight these when I can because, as we know, this allows you to upgrade your gear. And not just from common to magic, but from common to rare, which can have up to 6 modifiers. Essence monsters can be some of the most powerful monsters in the game, and sometimes they can have a ridiculous number of hit points. This is because, as well as the normal modifiers they can get, which is up to 4 by default, these can also get essence modifiers. These are the ones highlighted in blue. So this one is the Muttering Essence of Greed. One thing I do want to highlight about this particular kind of essence monster is you'll see it's throwing out these red balls in random directions. When these balls touch you, they will apply a debuff called Corrupting Blood. These debuffs stack up to quite a large amount, and they apply a physical damage over time modifier for each stack on you. You can get a special kind of flask that will remove Corrupting Blood. This will make these far easier to fight. I don't have one here, so I'm going to have to really try and avoid those balls. Anyway, less about the side attractions and more back to the main course. Let's go and find the large spider. Now, this spider can be a pretty hard fight, so before you go in there you want to apply any skill points and also put any auras on that we bought during the act but haven't been able to put on yet because of our level. Here I equipped Herald of Ash to give me more fire damage to my attacks. Entering the Weaver's Nest now, and she will drop from the ceiling with a screech. You'll see here that I'm standing in front of her, and what's happening up top left is I'm getting this poison debuff multiple stacks. I'm currently at 10. She will also give you this web effect occasionally, which will slow down your action speed. The poison is inflicted when she hits you with her fangs at the front of her. If your character isn't quite as tanky as mine, you probably want to kite her around the arena, trying to stay behind her while you hit her. Once you get to half health, she will jump back up into the ceiling. For the next 20 or 30 seconds or so, you will get a ton of tiny little spiders just constantly spawning. These spiders do not grant XP and do not drop items, but you do have to kill them to try and stop the stacks of poison building up. Eventually the Weaver will screech again and drop back onto the floor. You'll see that her attacks can do quite a lot of damage by the big chunks being taken out of my health. Eventually though, when her health does reach 0, she will die and fall on her back and her legs will curl up like a normal spider. She will drop Maligaro's Spike. This will take 4 inventory slots in a vertical line. This is required for quest progression, so you will need to pick it up. Once you've got it, log out back to town. Once in town, Silk will offer you a support gem to help you through the rest of the act. Pick one of these up and put it on your character. Note that at this point, Yena will also have more skill gems for sale than she had previously. Once you've finished shopping, you can head back to Act 1 and talk to Bestel. He will give us a skill, but put this on to get another skill point. Take the waypoint back to Act 2 town, and then take the waypoint again to the crossroads. You may be asking, why are we doing these 2 steps when I could just do one straight to the crossroads? The reason for this is that when you log out and back in, you always go back to the last town you were in. I find it deeply disorienting when I log out in Act 2 to end up back in Act 1 and have to take the waypoint back. That's why whenever I'm going back to an old act and then going back to the real act, I always go back into the town first before moving on. Anyway, now that we're back in the crossroads, let's head down the road. By down I mean to the south. Eventually we will find an end to the Fell Shrine ruins. Eventually you'll find a large cathedral sort of thing that's in a state of terrible disrepair. Run all the way to the back of this cathedral until you find the entrance to the Crypts level 1. If this is your first playthrough of the League, you are going to want to find the Trial of Ascendancy. This is normally somewhere top middle. In this one you got the spinning spike things. When you touch these will apply a very strong physical damage debuff. You may need to use your life flask to stay alive through these. If your life flasks are depleted, then you will have to be really careful to avoid the traps. Once you get to the end, hit the Trial of Ascendancy plaque and then take the portal back to the beginning of the area. After we've done this bit, we are going to try and find the door to the Crypt level 2. This is pretty much always top right. Work your way through this area until you find a large set of steps up onto a platform, up onto another load of steps. Here you will find Archbishop Joffrey the Abashed. This boss has practically no mechanics, and so we're not really going to talk about the fight, just hit him repeatedly until he drops dead. Although technically being a skeleton, I suppose he's dead already, so just bash him repeatedly till he turns to some kind of bone meal. Now touch the altar and this will drop the golden hand. Pick this up. You will get a skill book for this. Now I'm about to pick up a special kind of node on the skill tree called a mastery. These masteries appear at the centre of some of the node wheels around the tree. To unlock them, you need to pick up one of the large notable nodes. Masteries are very strong. You get an option in them to do something really powerful. In this case, I'm going to pick up regenerate 1 life per second for each 1% uncapped fire resistance. What this means is, no matter how much fire resistance I have, I will have the same amount in regen. If I get 100 fire resist, I have 100 regen. You can actually see your resistances and your life regen on the defensive tab of the character sheet. To access the character sheet on PC, just hit the C key. You'll see that my fire resistance is actually about 42%, so when I put this on, it's going to jump my life regen up to about 90. And you'll see here, when I'm swapping out my rings to get more fire resist, my life regen is now jumping and falling as that ring goes in and out of the slot. And I just realised what I said, so I'm going to stop now. Okay, so now log back to town, sell any stuff to Groost, and then head to the waypoint and go back to the crossroads. This time we're going to take the one road we haven't taken, which is the one to the right. Eventually, you'll find an exit to the broken bridge. We're going to go through here. Now, I did mention that everything in Act 2 pretty much just follows a road, and this is no exception. We're just going to follow the road, which does curve quite a bit, so you could probably cut some off by trying to cut a corner. Towards the end of the road, you will find a waypoint. We never need to come back here again unless we crash before killing the boss, so we don't really need to grab this if you don't want to. Eventually, you will find the actual broken bridge within the broken bridge area. Once I've killed this rare mob that had just kept following me, we'll then go and talk to Kraityn. This fight mainly just revolves around him trying to hit you with a sword and occasionally teleporting somewhere else. This area does have a lot of adds, which is really good for recharging your flasks. Now, this is the third of 3 bandit lords that we have to deal with, and this is the first real meaningful quest choice that we have in Path of Exile. We can choose to kill all of the bandits or help one of them. If we do choose to kill all of them, then Eramir in Act 2 Town will give us an extra skill point. If we were to help this boss, I think we get movement speed. I never ever suggest helping this boss. Do note that whatever choice you make, towards the end of the game when you have a lot of regrets, you can actually change your choice. And by regrets, I mean regret orbs. Regret orbs allow you to re-roll certain points on your passive tree if you make mistakes or need to make changes as you go through the game. But you can also sell a ton of these with an amulet to a vendor to get the alternate choice for the bandit selection. Your bandit selection choice will be based on the amulet you trade in. I have a video on this, I'll link it in the description. So around about now, Kraityn should be dead, and we can log out back to town. Back in town now and take the waypoint back to the Riverways. Across from the waypoint there'll be a break in the side of the road and then like a broken stone path. Follow this path until you find the exit into the wetlands. Upon entering this area, you want to run practically perpendicular to the wall at the entrance. If you're lucky, the second bandit Lord Oak will have his base here. Enter and then go and kill him. If you choose to help him, you would get 40 maximum life points. This really isn't worth it so early, as nothing early game is really that damaging. So this boss himself doesn't deal a great deal of damage apart from maybe when he jumps on your head. But what he does have is a really insane amount of regen, and every so often he'll fire a skill and push his life way back up. You'll actually see this closer towards the end of the fight. Now what does cause quite a bit of damage in this area sometimes is the archers around him. So what I like to do is work my way around Oak, keep hitting him, and then if I've got an area of effect skill, it will hit the archers behind him and kill them as well. Now because Oak has such a lot of regen, if you have a particularly weak character, you can run out of flash charges before you actually kill him. Do note that leaving this area and then coming back, he will be back on full health, so you'll have gained nothing. I will have absolutely no problem killing him on this character. Once he's down, exit his little base and then head up sort of diagonally left. And eventually you should come to a quest marker. In some very rare circumstances, the quest marker and the waypoint right next to it may not be here. They may be to the far right or to the bottom left of the arena. This is extraordinarily rare, so most cases it's going to be right here. Grab the waypoint, touch the roots, but don't go through the door. Instead, we're going to take the waypoint back to the Western Forest. This is where the final Bandit Lord lives. To find her, you want to head on the same side of the road to the waypoint, straight to the far wall. Once you get there, head down the wall until you find Alira's fort. Unlike the other bandit lords, I'm actually going to help her, so instead of clicking kill Alira, I'm going to click help Alira. She will give you the apex for helping her, and you will also get 15% to all elemental resistances. This is huge early game. We're now going to log out back to town. Then we're going to take the waypoint to the waypoint in the wetlands and go through the little place that used to be covered in vines. You will now find yourself in the Vaal Ruins. This place is a bit of a maze, and it can be quite hard to find the exit. A few leagues ago it was pretty much always bottom middle, although now it can be anywhere, top middle, top left or bottom. It's really hard to find nowadays. Your best bet is to run around until you find a quest marker. This marks something you need to touch in order to find the exit. So we're going to head here and you'll find a large ball. Open it, it'll roll away, and now you can find the exit. The exit is normally always up a pile of stairs, and it's called the Northern Forest. In the Northern Forest, you will find a series of ritual sites. These can be really good for grabbing rare items if you're really struggling for weapons or power. What I tend to do is run 1 or 2 until the big prizes are revealed, and then if they're good, I will continue running them until I have enough points to buy them. You'll find 3 or 4 of these in the area. The way we actually run these is we need to first go into the sort of area that encompasses them. You'll see them as white lines on the ground. Kill everything inside and then touch the altar in the middle. This will respawn all the monsters plus any monsters from any others you've done in the area before. Do be quite careful, as new to this league, some really powerful monsters that deal chaos damage can spawn. We have very little chaos resistance early, and so these can kill us if we're not careful. If you start to see areas of purple and a lot of damage being taken, move out of the area. It may also be that you got the jumping frogs thing, which is also bad. Once you've done one of these areas, a button will appear towards the right hand side of your UI. It will have a 1 of 3 for the first one to tell you you've done 1 of 3 possible altars. Clicking on this button will bring up the tribute menu, which will show you what kind of items you can buy if you've got enough tribute. You can then scroll over the items and work if any of them are better than your current gear because they're all identified, and then you can click on it and pick it up. These altars can take quite a while to do, so if you've already got decent gear or you're in a rush, you can just skip them all. In this area, there will be 2 exits. One is called the Dread Thicket. You do not want to go into that one. Towards the top of the arena, you will find an entrance to the Caverns. It's behind a waterfall. Now, what I don't think I've covered yet is these little buttons to the right of the screen. These means that your gems have leveled up. Clicking on the plus will complete the level up process. Note that you won't gain any more XP on your gems until you have leveled them up. If any of these are greyed out for any reason, it means you don't have either the right number of attributes or the level in order to switch them over, so don't click them yet. There's practically nothing of interest in the caverns, so just keep running through them until you find a big wall with a circular door in it. Head through here. You'll probably find the waypoint on your minimap before you actually get here. Note that if you haven't picked a bandit reward or helped one of the bandits by now, this door past the waypoint will be closed and you'll have to go back and do it, so it's good to get that first. 9 times out of 10, once you get through this door, you want to head left and keep heading left until you find a set of stairs. Now this is actually a giant pyramid, so as you head up the stairs, each of the areas will get smaller and smaller. As a general rule of thumb, the exit will be on the opposite side of the pyramid to the entrance. So you can see here, my entrance is top left. My exit should be somewhere around bottom right. Eventually you'll find the pyramid apex. What you want to do when you enter this room is head up the stairs, touch the big thing in the middle of the room and it'll start to move. Keep running and go and get the crafting bench recipe from the far side of the room and then come back to the centre. It takes an absolute age for the Vaal Oversoul to finally raise out of the Dark Altar, so I'm going to skip forward. When he finally gets out of the ground, he will rapidly start to attack you, and he has quite a lot of mechanics. The first thing you just saw him use there was a load of balls that he fires out. They only do damage if they hit you at the end of their run. They also land quite a way away from the boss, so stay close to him and they won't do any damage to you at all. After you've done so much damage to him, his life bar will freeze and he will disappear back into the ground. He now leaves you just with his adds to kill. These will allow you to regenerate flash charges if you need them. After a certain amount of time, he'll come back out of the ground. In this case, he's using one of his other attacks. In this case, he lifts his arm up into the air, which is quite slow and well telegraphed, and then he'll slam it down. Do note that you want to be behind him when this slams down, otherwise it has a chance of one-shotting you. After the slam here, he's gone into one of his more dangerous phases. Basically, a load of rocks just fall from the ceiling around him. These don't look too dangerous against my character, and that's because my character has a lot of armor and these do physical damage. They will be absolutely decimating to characters with low armor, so what you want to do is keep running around the arena while the stones are falling. They will follow your character, so keep moving until they stop falling. This boss does have one more attack that he didn't use against me, possibly because I killed him so quick. But in the attack, he fires out a series of lasers that do massive damage. These come in 3s, but he can double them up to give you 6 in a row. What you want to do when he starts doing this is circle around the character so that he can't track you. Once he's down, the door at the back of the room will open and you will exit into the city of Sarn. There's a crafting recipe right outside the door to the right. This act can take somewhere between 15 and 30 minutes depending on how quick you are. By the end, if you're a melee character, you want to be doing somewhere in the order of 750 life, like I've got here. If you're a ranged character, you can probably get away with far less, something like 550. And with that, Act 2's over, we're in Act 3. We'll pick up in the next video. And with that, may the RNG be with you, and I'll catch you on the next one.